of your robot is?
Lyle.
Lyle.
Same guy.
Same guy.
This will probably be just like last time.
Take two.
Well, he doesn't have to fly off the table this time. Let's see what happens. He went forward. Oh my God. Oh no. Exciting stuff. A little too low of an obstacle.
Now, is he going to detect the wall and?
Well,
What's he turn around?
Theoretically.
Go for the door, here. Don't make it hard on yourself.
Huh?
It's tricky.
Yeah, I thought I got rid of that, but I guess not. Wait,
It's going to detect the camera.
I got that far.
It sees you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it's all very
We're not liable. Make sure and get that liability waiver.
Throw a battery.
That still needs work.
Unfortunately, according to the rules, and back.
Oh.
Let's go into the back and do the maze bot.
Anyway, so level 1 is simply to find the goal. Level 2 is to find the goal, and then on subsequent passes, take the shortest route that it knows about. And then level 3, which is next, or 2 months from now, the maze can have loops. So the first 2 levels, the maze is guaranteed to not have loops. And so this robot can do all 3 levels and has done so in the past. But I did make one minor change, which hopefully everyone will notice when it runs.
Speeding.
So if you notice there, when it's
Why did it not turn left?
so when there's a choice, it picks a random direction.
Ah, okay.
So and when it knows the distance that it has to go, then it goes as fast as it can.
But there may have been a shorter route now.
Yes, so the green LED is blinking, indicating that it has seen at least 2 other paths, and therefore they could possibly connect in a loop and maybe a shorter route.
Oh, clever.
So the green light says try again,
Okay, so
and
that
it'll
was phase
explore
1.
the
Okay.
unexplored paths from the first round. So now it's going to its first unexplored arm, and that's the second unexplored arm. Now it's just going to the goal, since it's explored all the paths.
Is the green LED off or solid now?
Well, you'll see when it gets to the goal that it will be, it'll just be fast yellow blinking, which means it's seen the whole maze.
Ah, okay.
Does it keep track of distance or only turns?
It keeps track of distance and so they're motor encoders, so you can just tell how far it's gone. The maze is also guaranteed to be only in 1 foot increments, so it keeps track of the maze in feet. So, and only by intersections. So every time there's a turn or an intersection, it'll record a vertex and what 4 directions it connects to other vertices, and therefore builds a map of the whole maze, and therefore can use the A-star algorithm to find the shortest route between whatever your starting point and your goal point.
Is it capable of level 3 then?
Yeah. So it'll go until it finds a dead end or whatever, and then it'll navigate to the first intersection that has an unexplored path. So it'll use A-star to get the shortest route to that starting point, and then explore from there.
Three's the circle, right?
Yeah. So if it goes in a loop, it'll come back and see that it'll find, because it's keeping track of X and Y, it'll know that this is an intersection a point in the space that it's been to before, and therefore has gone around in a loop. So
You have not had a bot do level 3,
Yeah.
I don't think ever.
well, now you have.
So you say.
Well, last year.
The gauntlet is
Last
down.
year.
Let's see two.
No, last year it did it, and
Don't recall.
I'll have to show you my 3 stars. So now it's just going to take the shortest route at full speed.
So this is level 2.
Yeah, so this is the level 2 part.
So here's a trivia question. Where was A-star first used?
It was Shaky the Robot.
Shaky.
Question. So odometry is never perfect, right?
Correct.
But you have intersections that are guaranteed to be on 12-inch
Correct.
centers. So do you renormalize, or at
Yes.
what point do you do things? How do you?
Yes,
how do you
so
do that?
like I say, it'll travel down from the starting point to here, let's say,
Yeah.
and it has hard-coded, how many encoder ticks per foot,
Right.
and rounds off to the nearest foot.
Okay. So you take what the encoders say, and then.
Yeah, and the encoders
Move them
are fairly
through.
accurate. I mean,
But there's always some error, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So what you're changing the encoder value to bring it to an intersection point, essentially, when you get to one.
Yeah, so
Right.
the maze is recorded in feet,
Right.
and then when I want to, say, go as fast as I can to this point, it basically says travel n times the number of feet
Right.
to get the number of encoder ticks, and then subtracts a certain amount to say slow down
Deceleration
at this
rate.
point.
Yeah, okay. So it does decelerate.
So it's about a quarter of a foot.
Right.
So goal minus a quarter foot,
Right.
and then slow down, and then look for the intersection.
Oh, cool.
Can we watch it again now that we know the algorithm?
So can you explain how it follows the line, like how it senses that?
So there's 5 sensors on this front row, 3 in the middle and 1 on each end, and this is just a pre-assembled Zumo robot from Palolu, and the standard infrared reflectance sensors that Palolu sells. And then there's a PID loop on the 3 center values to center it. So sure, I'll run it again.
I want to see it do its cool acceleration and then slow down.
What's its name? Unimaginatively Z mouse.
You reset it.
No,
Oh, you reset them
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, because looks like he's going full speed and not slowing down at the end because he doesn't know the distances, right?
That's correct. So the first time around, it's sort of a medium speed, where it's slow enough that when it hits an intersection, it can stop in time to turn.
But when it retraces,
But when it's backtracking, then it knows the
Then it'll go
distance
faster.
that it traveled out, so it knows how far to expect the next intersection. And see, this time the green light isn't blinking, meaning it found enough paths that it doesn't think there's any more.
But it didn't do this long path.
So that's because it isn't the loop.
Well, so there can be one unexplored path, and it knows that has to be a dead end because there's no way for it. It would have crossed
It knows all the edges around that path.
No, I mean, think of it as a line, however twisted from start to goal.
Yeah.
So there has to be at least 2 branches off of that line in order to form a loop. Otherwise, you just have a branch going off of your line to the goal with no way of connecting to the goal.
Okay.
pretty slick.
That is clever. I like it.
Yeah, there's some other optimizations for when there's a loop, so that like if it goes around here, it can see, oh, I've been to this point and this point, and so I can infer there's a connection.
Gotcha. If it's
if this was connected,
okay.
because there can't be anything in the middle if it's only 1 foot apart.
Right.
So there's little tiny optimizations for that. So now it should go full speed to the goal because
it does overshoot a little bit.
yeah. So watch when it gets to the goal, it slows down a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Very good.
The fast run,
Until
as
you
many
reset.
times until you reset it.
Cool.
It looks like the treads are tall enough that it could maybe drive upside down. Can it?
Yeah.
Cool.
I haven't programmed it for that, but
How well is it?
and there's no sensors on the drone. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So, I've got a couple questions. What happens if, for example, I just decided to slap some electrical tape at a 6-inch point, like between 2 of the intersections? Would it detect that?
So I had code that sort of explicitly ignored anything black at the halfway point because these cracks between the tiles will get detected.
Okay.
But I ended up just making it like you have to detect black 3 times in a row, as opposed to, just the first time. So anything that's really thin will get ignored.
And what happens if, for example, it's got the whole maze encoded in it? What happens if, again, I put some electrical tape in and put in a new route? What would happen to that?
Well, it would add to whatever maze it's seen so far.
Okay.
It doesn't. So I do try to verify. Once I've collected part of a map, I try to verify that it sees what it expects to see.
Okay.
So, like if I'm backtracking and I come to this intersection, I should see, 3 other directions, forward, left, and right, because I crossed that intersection before.
Is that
but
why
if
it
you-
passes to see if there's a continuation? Because once it sees left or right, it goes a little farther to see if there's a straight.
No, so when it's right here, these edge sensors can see that there's
Yeah, it
paths
sees left
going
and
this
right,
way and that way.
but it doesn't know straight.
But it
yet.
doesn't know straight, you're right. So it has to travel a little bit further, but I have to anyway in order to be centered over its,
to rotate.
center of rotation for turning. So that records that there's a line going forwards
Okay.
when it turns.
Does it just end up really confused if you put it on a different start point?
No, you can start it anywhere, but it's always going to assume it's starting there. So I have to start with a clear map or no map.
If you have the previous map, but you started in a new place.
Well, then it'll be very confused. We can try it.
Then it will not open the pod bay door.
It will. See, it's it was trying to go this full distance, and then it ran off the end of the line and said, "Hey, wait a minute, this doesn't match what I was expecting." But if I reset it,
You could handle that.
and start it here,
Then that's just a new starting.
then
point.
it's just a new starting point, and it'll solve the maze from that point.
And it detects the goal by just because the length.
It detects the goal because all 5 sensors
five.
are black for a certain distance.
Right. Because all 5 sensors go black when you hit a T.
Yeah, or across the crack.
Yeah.
So it thinks there's more to explore. So I could, you can do that. Oops. Have to hold it down long enough for it to see the button.
And it doesn't center itself the second time.
No, because it's already been calibrated.
Ah, okay.
Oh, got confused there. Well, that's a bug. So yeah, I'm quite happy with all of its clever ideas.
Have you considered writing the software to handle the picking it up and putting it in a different starting spot? Like based on distances, it could figure out what it is and then map it and stuff.
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that.
Level 4.
You'd also have to assume it's the same map. If you did both.
Sure, yeah.
If you moved it and changed the map, I don't know if you could do that.
Well, then it would just be like, okay, fine, reset everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to start over and find the goal from wherever I am.
All right. And you already have your certificate, right? So you
I
don't,
do.
You do not need another one.
But I might get a frame.